This is Reverend Yue McCormick of True Vow Temple. In this presentation, the last of 8 parts, I will be talking about the Nyorai Juryo-hon, or Duration of the Life of the Tathagata Chapter, which is recited in the morning and evening devotional practice and other services of Nichiren Buddhism. In this video, we will be covering the verse portion of the Juryo-hon. The beginning of the verses are announced with the following statement. Niji se san yokuju sen shigi ni setsu ge gon, which means, at that time, the world-honored one, wishing to restate his meaning, sang in gathas. The kanji pronounced ge in the above passage is a translation of the Sanskrit word gatha, which means verse or verses. In Sanskrit, a gatha would typically consist of quatrains, or stanzas of 4 lines, with 8 syllables in each line. In Kumarajiva's translation, there are 25.5 quatrains, or 4-line stanzas, though only 4 Chinese characters are in each line. In Nyorai Juryo's Words and Phrases of the Lotus Sutra, he provides an outline of what is being described in the various quatrains and verses of Chapter 16. I will be referring to this outline as we look over the verses. According to Juryo, the first 20.5 quatrains are related to the initial analogy of the 500 dust particle kalpas and the duration of the life of the Tathagata since his attainment of Buddhahood in the remotest past. The last 5 will be related to the parable of the good physician. The first 4 stanzas, or quatrains, extol the benefits bestowed by the eternal Buddha in the past, beginning with this first stanza that describes how long it has been since he attained Buddhahood in the remotest past. Jiga toku butsu rai sho kyo sho ko shu mu ryo hyaku sen man okusai asogi. Since I became the Buddha, the many kalpas that have passed are in immeasurable hundreds of thousands of tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of asamkhyas. In Nichiren Buddhism, the verses of Chapter 16 are called the Jigage. We have already covered the meaning of ge, which means gatha in Sanskrit, and verses in English. These verses are named after the first 2 characters of the first line, ji and ga, which together mean I. The whole first line, as we have seen, is ji ga toku butsu rai, which means since I became the Buddha. So jigage means something like the verses that begin with I. In Nichiren Shu, these are also called the verses of eternity. In the first 3 lines of the second quatrain, the Eternal Buddha explains what he has been doing during all these past ages since attaining Buddhahood. Jo se po kyo ke mu shu okushu jo ryo nyu o butsu do. I am constantly expounding the Dharma, teaching and transforming innumerable hundreds of thousands of sentient beings so they can enter the way to Buddhahood. So the Buddha has been benefiting beings by teaching and transforming them so that they, too, can enter the way to Buddhahood. This is what Buddhas do. They do not simply abide peacefully apart from the turmoil of the world. Though they are fully liberated, they remain fully engaged. In the last line of the second quatrain, and in the third and fourth quatrains, the Eternal Buddha explains that he constantly abides in the world to benefit beings. Nirai muryo ko ido shujo ko ho ben genne han ni jitsu metsu dojo ju shi se po. For immeasurable kalpas, to liberate sentient beings, I skillfully show my nirvana to them, but am not really extinguished. I am constantly abiding here, expounding the Dharma. Ga jo ju o shi sho genzu riki ryo tendo shujo sui ga ni fu ken. I constantly abide here by means of my supernatural powers, causing confused sentient beings, although they are near me, not to see me. The kanji pronounced joju in the above passage are translated here as constantly abide. However, the first character jo can also be translated as permanent or eternal, so we could say eternally abides. However, to use words like eternal or permanent sounds too much like the wrong view of eternalism, and the connotation here is not of a substantial being or entity who abides without change or interrelation with all else that is. The point is that the Buddha is a constant active presence, even in his seeming absence. On the other hand, eternity is one of the four virtues of the unconditioned. These four virtues are jo, eternity, raku, bliss, ga, self, or the true self, and jo, purity. Whereas conditioned phenomena, as perceived by those in the six lower realms, are characterized by impermanence, suffering, non-self, and impurity, the true reality of all things, which is unconditioned and can also be called suchness or Buddha nature or even nirvana, is characterized by these four virtues. Now follows a set of 5 quatrains from 5 to 9 that talk about the apparent arising and ceasing of the Buddha, though the eternal Buddha is non-arising and non-ceasing. This means that the Buddha appears to arise and cease, but there is no substantial or ultimate arising and ceasing. The first 2.5 quatrains of this set praise the present arising that is based upon non-arising. Shuken ga metsu do koku yo shari genkai renbo nisho katsugo shin shujo ki shin buku shichi jiki nyu nani shin yoku ken butsu fuji shaku shen myoji ga gyu shu so kusutsu ryoju sen. Many who see me extinguished are everywhere making offerings to my shadidas. They all cherish a yearning for me and give rise to a heart of reverence. These sentient beings have become devout, upright, and gentle, single-mindedly desiring to see the Buddha, not sparing even their own lives. At that time, the assembled Sangha and I appear together on Mount Sacred Eagle. In other words, the eternal Buddha and his assembly appear to arise, even though neither the eternal Buddha, nor his assembly, nor any being has any substantial, independent arising. In these verses, the Sanskrit word sharira is used, referring to relics left behind by arhats, privately awakened ones, advanced bodhisattvas, and Buddhas when they pass away. Relics can be any part of a noble one's body that remains, but most often they refer to crystals, such as those shown here, which appear in the ashes after cremation. Another word that we should examine is nyunan, or gentle. The Chinese characters used here can be translated as soft, flexible, or pliable. They are also used to translate Sanskrit words such as mriduta, which also mean pliable and flexible. In the Abhidhamma of the Theravadins, the Pali term mriduta refers to the malleability of the physical body, of mental factors, and of consciousness. In the case of malleability of mind and mental factors, it refers to a flexibility of mind that overcomes defilements such as pride and wrong views. In other words, it refers not just to being a gentle and nice, but having an open mind that can take in new information and attain genuine insight upon encountering the Dharma. From the second half of the 17th quatrain until the end of the 9th, the Buddha speaks of his apparent ceasing, though ultimately there is no substantial ceasing, any more than there is substantial arising. Gaji go shujo jozai shifu metsu iho ben rikiko gennu metsu fu metsu yo koku shujo kugyo shingyo shagabu ohi chu I setsu mujo ho nyoto fu manchi tani ga metsu do. At that time I say to the sentient beings, I constantly abide here without ceasing. By the power of skillful means, I show ceasing and non-ceasing. In other countries, there are sentient beings who are respectful and have joyous faith. I will again, in their midst, expound the unsurpassed Dharma. You have never heard this, but only think that I am extinguished. In these quatrains, the Buddha also speaks of his appearance to other beings in other lands, to whom he will appear and expound the Dharma if they are respectful and have joyous faith. So again, the Buddha's arising and ceasing is a skillful means. The next section of verses, from quatrain 10 to the first half of quatrain 20, consists of 4 parts that extol the benefits the eternal Buddha will bestow upon beings in the future. The first part consists of 1.5 quatrains that clarify the future accommodation of the eternal Buddha to the capacities of sentient beings. Ga kensho shujo motsuzai o kukai ko fui gen shin yogo sho katsugo ingo shin denbo nai shutui seppo. I see all sentient beings sinking into suffering. Therefore I do not show myself, so that they give rise to reverence, and cause them to have a heart of yearning. Then I appear to expound the Dharma. The second part of the lines extolling the future benefits bestowed by the eternal Buddha includes the latter half of the 11th quatrain until the first half of the 15th. These lines praise the constant abiding and never-ceasing nature of the eternal Buddha. Jinzu riki nyo zei o asogi kojo zai ryo ju sengyu yo shouju sho. My supernatural powers are such that for a Samkhya kalpas I constantly live on Mount Sacred Eagle and also in other abodes. Shujo kenko jendai ka sho shoji ga shido anon tenin joju man andin shodo kaku shuju ho shogan. When sentient beings see the end of the kalpa, the time of the great burning fire, my land is calm and tranquil, constantly filled with gods and humans. Its gardens, groves, halls, and pavilions are adorned with various treasures. Hoju take ka shujo shouyu raku sho ten kyaku tenku jo sa shugi gaku mandada ke san butsu dai shu. The jeweled trees have many flowers and fruits. The sentient beings are enjoying themselves, and the gods are beating heavenly drums, constantly making various kinds of music, and raining mandarava flowers on the Buddha in the great assembly. The third part of the lines extolling the future benefits bestowed by the eternal Buddha consists of the latter half of the 15th and the first half of the 17th quatrains. These lines talk about the causes and conditions of those who are unable to see the Buddha. In fact, they are unable to see or even hear about the three treasures. Gajo do fu ki ni shu ken sho jin u fu shoku no nyoze shitsuju man. My Pure Land is not destroyed, but the multitudes see it consumed by fire. Sorrow, fear, and other sufferings, such as this, are everywhere. What is the name of the eternal Shakyamuni Buddha's Pure Land? Chapter 16 does not name it, but in Nichiren Buddhism, the Pure Land of the eternal Shakyamuni Buddha is understood to be the Pure Land of eternally tranquil light. This is because in the contemplation of the Universal Sage Bodhisattva Sutra, the closing third of the Threefold Lotus Sutra, there is a passage that says, Shakyamuni is called Vairochana, the all-pervading. This Buddha's dwelling is called eternally tranquil light. It is the place attained through the perfection of eternity. It is the place established by the perfection of self. In his essay, Shugo Kokodan, Treatise on Protecting the Nation, Nichiren gives the following response to the question about which Pure Land practitioners of the Lotus Sutra should seek to be reborn in. He says, it is stated in the 16th chapter, the duration of the life of the Tathagata, the essence of the Lotus Sutra consisting of 28 chapters. I will always stay in this Saha world. I reside here always, and this world of mine is peaceful. According to these statements, the eternal true Buddha, the original of all Buddhas in manifestation, is always in this Saha world. Then why should we wish to be anywhere other than this Saha world? You should always know that there is no Pure Land other than the very place where one who practices the Lotus Sutra resides. Why should we concern ourselves seeking a Pure Land in any other place? In the passage from the contemplation of the Universal Sage Bodhisattva Sutra, Shakyamuni is called Vairochana. Why is he given this name? Vairochana means illuminator or resplendent. Vairochana, or sometimes Mahavairochana, is the name given to the Buddha who presides over the Flower Garland Sutra, and is variously taken to be the reward body of Shakyamuni Buddha, or even as the Dharma body. In Japan, he is called Dainichi, which means great sun. Juri explains that Vairochana is the name of the Dharma body. He takes a derivative of this name, Rochana, to be the name of the reward body. while Shakyamuni is the name of the accommodation body, the historical Buddha. However, all these names refer to the eternal Buddha who is speaking in Chapter 16 of the Lotus Sutra. Because other Buddhist schools, such as the Mantra or Shingon school, were claiming that their teachings came from Vairocana, the Dharma body, they were superior to the teachings given by Shakyamuni Buddha, a mere accommodation body. Nietzsche then frequently explained that the Vairocana who appears in the flower garland and other sutras is an emanation or even a disciple of the eternal Shakyamuni Buddha. So by no means is the eternal Shakyamuni Buddha of Chapter 16 inferior to the Vairocana mentioned in the other sutras, though that name can be taken as applying to an emanation or aspect of the eternal Buddha. Zei shou sai shu jo i yakugo i nen ka aso gi ko fu man san bo myo. These sentient beings, with their many transgressions, because of their evil karmic causes and conditions, for Samkhya Kalpas, will not hear even the name of the three treasures. The word translated as transgression in this passage is from the kanji zai, which is a translation for the Sanskrit word papa. Sometimes this is translated as offense, or even as sin. Basically, it refers to any act that breaks the precepts, but more importantly, it refers to actions motivated by greed, hatred, or delusion. Transgressions, therefore, are bad causes that will have negative karmic consequences. The phrase akugo I nen, evil karmic causes and conditions, is exactly what committing transgressions will bring about. Basically, this refers to the causes and conditions that lead to the three evil realms of the hells, hungry ghosts, and animals. Sometimes the asura, or fighting demons, are included among these, and so the four evil realms are spoken of. This, of course, is what we want to avoid. The three treasures are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. In light of Chapter 16, in Nichiren Buddhism, the treasure of the Buddha is understood to be the eternal Shakyamuni Buddha. The Dharma is understood to be the Sutra of the Lotus Flower of the Wonderful Dharma, or Myoho Renge Kyo, and the Sangha consists of the Bodhisattvas appearing from underground, led by superior practice Bodhisattva, who appeared in the latter age of the Dharma as Nichiren Shonin. The fourth part of the lines extolling the future benefits bestowed by the eternal Buddha begins with the latter half of the 17th quatrain and ends with the first half of the 20th. These lines describe the causes and conditions related to seeing the Buddha. Shou shuku doku nyu wa shichi jiki sha so kai genga shinzai shi ni se po. All those who cultivate merit and are gentle and upright will all see me living here and expounding the Dharma. Wakuji I shi shu setsu butsu ju mu ryoku nai kenbu sha I setsu butsu nan chi. Sometimes, for the assembly, I say that the Buddha's lifespan is immeasurable. To those who see the Buddha after a long time, I say it is difficult to see a Buddha. Ga chi riki nyo ze e ko sho mu ryo jumyo mu shu ko ku shu go sho toku. The power of my knowledge is like this. The light of my wisdom is infinite. The duration of my life is infinite kalpas, attained through long ages of cultivation. Here we come to the end of the first 19.5 quatrains that praise the benefits bestowed by the eternal Shakyamuni Buddha to all beings in the past, present, and future. In the above passage, knowledge is a translation of the kanji chi, which is a translation of the Sanskrit jnana. Jnana could also be translated as gnosis, not mere worldly knowledge, but a deep understanding of reality and how to apply one's understanding in daily life. Wisdom is a translation of the kanji e, which is a translation of prajna, which is the wisdom that is the sixth perfection of a bodhisattva. This is the wisdom of the Buddha that sees that all is empty of substantial existence, that interdependence brings about provisional existence, and that all things express the middle way that encompasses emptiness and provisional existence. In this passage, the eternal Shakyamuni Buddha states, E ko sho mu ryo jumyo mu shu ko. The light of my wisdom is infinite. The duration of my life is infinite kalpas. The Buddha's wisdom is an infinite light, and the duration of his life is also infinite. Clearly, the Buddha who is speaking is not merely the historical Shakyamuni Buddha, but the eternal Shakyamuni Buddha, who is the source of all the qualities attributed to other Buddhas. The qualities of the eternal Shakyamuni Buddha's infinite light of wisdom and infinite lifespan are personified in the Buddha known as either Amitabha or Amitayas in Sanskrit. Amitabha means infinite light, or in Japanese, Muryoko, while Amitayas means infinite life, or Muryoju. Both Sanskrit names have been transliterated using kanji pronounced Amida. This is the Buddha who is said to preside over the Pure Land of utmost bliss in the West. From the perspective of Chapter 11 of the Lotus Sutra, the Buddhas of the various directions are all emanations of the eternal Shakyamuni Buddha, who come together to witness the opening of the stupa of treasures and the beginning of the assembly in space, that culminates in Shakyamuni Buddha revealing the attainment of Buddhahood in the remotest past. The lines consisting of the latter half of the 20th quatrain and the first half of the 21st quatrain praise the benefit of the Buddha's teaching being true and not false, especially in relation to his teaching regarding the attainment of Buddhahood in the remotest past, and his continued presence teaching and transforming sentient beings in the past, the present, and on into the future. Nyoto uchi shamoto shi shogi todan yo yo jin butsu go jipu ko. All of you, knowledgeable ones, have no doubts about this. Remove your doubts, have no more. The Buddha's words are true, not false. The next 5 quatrains are related to the parable of the good physician. Nyoi ze ho ben ni ji yo shi ko jitsu zai ni gon shi mu no sekko mo. I am like the physician who used skillful means to cure his raving children. Although actually alive, he told them he had died, but cannot be accused of falsehood. Ga yakui se buku shoku gensha yi bon bu tendo jitsu zai ni gon metsu i jo kenga ko ni sho kyo shi shin ho ichu jaku go yoku da o akudo chu. I am also like the Father of the world, who saves everyone from suffering. For ordinary people who are confused, although actually alive, I tell them I am extinguished. Otherwise, if they constantly see me, they will become arrogant, self-indulgent, heedless, and attached to the 5 desires, so much that they will fall into the evil destinies. Evil destinies, or paths, refer to the lowest 3 of the 6 lower realms, the realms of the hells, hungry ghosts, and animals. They are called destinies or paths because they are the destination of those who commit transgressions of thought, word, and deed. Those who continue to make bad causes can be said to be following a path to these destinations. Ga jo chi shu jo gyo do fu gyo do zui yo sho ka do i se shu ju ho. I always know whether sentient beings are practicing the way or not practicing the way. To liberate each of them in an appropriate manner, I expound various dharmas. The final quatrain closes with a statement by the eternal Shakyamuni Buddha of his constant thought. Maiji sanze nen iga ryo shujo toku nyu mujo do sokujo jubu shin. I am always thinking, how can I cause sentient beings to enter into the unsurpassed way and quickly attain embodiment as Buddhas? Here is the true intention of all the Buddha's teachings. Juryi comments that the teaching of the opening of the 3 vehicles to reveal the one vehicle, and the opening of the near attainment of Buddhahood to reveal the distant attainment of Buddhahood in the remotest past, is all so that sentient beings can quickly enter the Buddha way. He confidently concludes his commentary on Chapter 16 in this statement in particular with the following words: "This endeavor will surely not be in vain." Before we conclude, I believe this final line deserves a closer look. Sokujo jubu shin, quickly attain embodiment as Buddhas. The first character, soku, means quickly. The second, jo, means attain. The third, ju, means right away. Joju together as a compound means achievement or fulfillment. Butsu or bu means Buddha. Shin means body. So altogether, this means quickly attain embodiment as Buddhas. At the very least, I believe that we should take this to mean that through our external verbal practice of Odaimoku and our inner practice of confidently rejoicing in what the Lotus Sutra is teaching us about the Buddhahood of ourselves and others, we should immediately recognize that we are in this world to embody Buddhahood for ourselves and others. We are to be the presence and activity of selfless compassion here and now. This is why Nichiren wrote, "This is the teaching of the Buddha. The essence of Buddhism is the Lotus Sutra, and the gist of practicing the Lotus Sutra is shown in the Never Despising Bodhisattva chapter. Contemplate why Never Despising Bodhisattva stood on the street to bow to passers-by. The true purpose of Shakyamuni Buddha appearing in this world was to teach us how to conduct ourselves on a daily basis. Consider this well. The wise are called human beings, while the foolish are beasts." I now bring this 8th of an 8-part presentation on the duration of the life of the Tathagata chapter of the Lotus Sutra to a close. I look forward to your questions and comments. May the merits of this talk on the Dharma extend universally to all, so that we and all living beings together accomplish the Buddha way.